Let's look at one other example of the ratio test. So we want to find the radius of convergence for this particular series here. We'll go through this quickly. We'll set up the limit of the terms. So limit as n approaches infinity of a sub n plus 1 over a sub n. So the n plus first term here is going to be what? Okay, n plus 1 factorial times x to the n plus 1 over the nth term, which is going to be n factorial times x to the n. Now, we don't actually have to multiply by the reciprocal here. This one's an easy enough one to simplify as is. The x to the n is going to cancel with n x's in the top, and the n factorial and the n plus 1 factorial are going to cancel out, and we're just going to be left with n plus 1. So just to make things a little clearer, I'm going to take the limit as n approaches infinity of n plus 1 times x. Okay, what is the limit as n approaches infinity of n plus 1 times x? Are you sure?
Yes.
Right. So most of the time it is infinity. If x is equal to 0, and again, this is kind of one of those tricky things. If x is equal to 0 here, we would have infinity times 0, which seems to be one of those indeterminate forms. But x is not approaching 0. Remember, the indeterminate forms are when the values approach 0 and they approach infinity. Since x is equal to 0, or if x is equal to 0, then 0 times any number, no matter how big n gets, 0 times that number is going to be 0. So what is the radius of convergence going to be here? What's the range of x values that are going to work in this problem, that are going to allow this to converge? 0. So therefore, actually, let me do this. I'm going to say this is equal to infinity when x is not equal to 0. But if x is equal to 0, then it's going to converge, and that limit's going to be 0. So, therefore, the radius of convergence is what? 0. It actually does converge for one number. If we put 0 in for x, it's going to converge. Any other number we put in for x, it's going to diverge. So this is an example of one of those series. I actually mentioned this last week, that most of the time we're going to have a range of x values we could plug in. This is an example of one where one x value works, every other x value does not.